Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome. I'm super excited to be back here today. I kind of have another little setup going on. So I have my laptop right here. So you'll see me looking down a lot so I can see if any comments come in. Because before I was just using my phone because they were really just random videos, times that I would just like, let me go live. And now I am just being a lot more intentional and, choosing this time to go live. Now, I will wait for some of you guys to come in and let me know when you're here. Hey. Hi, Kat. Thank you for being here. Hold on. I just have a call coming in. Okay. All right. So we're basically, like I said yesterday, we're going to be playing on this topic for as long as, I don't know, anything I come up with and I think of, I just kind of want to throw it in here. And I am going to make a, okay, guys, give me a second. Things are coming up and I'm like in the middle of something else. And so give me a second really quick. You look gorgeous. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to open up another thing. And then we'll get started. Sorry about that. Give me a second. I'm so sorry, guys. There's like a lot going on my end.
Hey, Marla.
Hi, attorney. How are you?
How are you doing?
Good.
Okay. Sorry, guys. That was crazy. I feel like I was just doing so much. Okay. So, as you guys are coming in here, I appreciate the patience. Like I was saying yesterday, I wanted to make this series for all of you ladies who just have questions for me and that you leave them in the comments. I want to address them in these types of videos where I can just get all the information out there and answer as many questions as you may have. Also, this is just a space where you can feel comfortable saying, hey, I don't know this. What should I do? And this is kind of where I want to dump that kind of information. Today, specifically, I really want to talk about personality and friendship because this is something that I get a lot of questions on. A lot of you women who are in your late 20s, early 30s, even in your 40s. That's the main audience that I get on here. And I understand that because that's around my age range. I'm in my early 30s. So I can tell that I connect a lot with you ladies who are in the beginning stages of wanting to, get married, and you want to know like what's the best path to get there. And I understand that because I just been there, right? I just was at where you're at right now. So that's exactly why I even started doing this and speaking to you ladies, is because where you're at right now, I was just there, and I can tell you what the dating scene is like. I can tell you how to get people who are right now in the dating scene right now in this modern world, how you can react and get what you want out of it. So that was the whole point of that. So, like I said, I wanted to talk about personality and friendship. And this is more so to do with understanding and knowing about womanhood and what that means. So, with the personality, I wanted to specifically talk about this because it is very, very common that I come across some women who are very fascinating, very intriguing. I'm like, wow, she's brilliant, she's amazing. I come across women like that. And then I come across women who are on the complete opposite end. And they really have nothing going on, no real thinking, no like deep thinking, no real hobbies, nothing really going on. And uh, that is a detriment to the woman herself, and it is, I think, to the relationships around her, because most of the time with these women I find that they are constantly asking, why didn't this relationship work out? What is going on with this guy? Why am I not being treated like this? Why am I only getting like one night stands? Or, those type of situations are always happening to me. Why can't I get the type of guy that I'm looking for? And it really goes down to the type of personality that you have, and you having the personality that most men or people will find attractive. Now, I speak about this a lot because I tell you ladies, especially if you want to get married, you need to adopt that girl next door personality. You need to get that personality that is likable to men and women. Now, this doesn't have to be something that is, completely like you're changing who you are, but you do have to become likable. And I think we tend to forget like that just because, you don't say something. Like I know for me, like I am all about, like completely all about being the type of woman who can listen to somebody else, can give them positive feedback, and if they want it to the conversation to be about them, I'll allow that to happen. Like I don't really take offense to things really at all, and I allow people to be themselves. And also I don't push any of my ideas onto anybody. And I know it may not seem that way because obviously I'm online talking about my opinions and my ideas, but I don't try to push them on people that I know personally in my life, right? If I come across a random person and we're having a conversation and say it gets on a touchy subject or something like that, I'm not going to sit there and try to push my ideas on that person. I really don't like that kind of combative energy, and I try to keep it like neutral, right? I don't know where people come from, what they're about, and I just kind of keep it very neutral. And that's the safest way to do it. I think we kind of moved out of the idea that we grew up with, where it was like, hey, you know what? Politics and religion and things like that, let's just not talk about it. Let's not get into those kind of sticky situations, because everybody has a personal preference on that, and everybody is probably feeling strongly about that, right? People have spiritual experiences and they feel strongly about that. So you probably don't want to like test it or, get it mucky with your own opinions and trying to like battle it out to see who has a better idea. So I think that type of personality is the good baseline, right? You don't want to be, even if you agree with somebody, even if you're like on the same page, say if you both are liberal and you guys are on the same page completely, you don't want to make your conversation just be about that and just be the connection to that. You want your conversation to be more broad, more healthy, more things that matter personally to yourself. So I think that is important on that end of the personality spectrum, of making sure that you're not being combative in your personality. Another thing I want to talk about is what your actual interests are. I think so many people, especially nowadays, where we're, not really going outside much, or we're just infatuated with social media and scrolling and stuff like that. And we kind of look to other people and what they're doing, and then we try to recreate it ourselves. And so there's a lack of authenticity. And that right there is really where the magic happens, when you're authentic, when you're being yourself. And this is something that I figured out a couple years ago when, you ladies know I live in LA, and you all know the kind of vibe and energy in LA. It's very much the who's who, party scene. What are you doing? What are you wearing? What do you look like? Like it's very driven on, I would say, a little superficial, right? Like some superficial values. But then on the other spectrum, there is great like authenticity here, right? You can literally be yourself. We have the beach, we have the mountains, you can go hiking, you can explore, you can see like history, you can like learn so many beautiful things even in nature. And there's so many different types of people, so it's very like just mind blowing the experience you can have in LA. But if you kind of put yourself in this box and you just follow and a clout chaser, then you never actually build yourself to become anybody, and you don't end up with a personality. And that's where you see the lack, because people are really just copy and pasting what they see on social media, and that's not an actual real personality. And that's why it doesn't resonate with people. And people usually say, well, I don't have any friends, and how do I make friends? How do I get people to connect with me? And in reality, the more authentic you are to yourself, the more things that you're willing to do, when nobody's looking, when nobody's paying you, when you're just being free. If you had all the time in the world, if you weren't consumed with work and all of this stuff that's going on in the world, what you would be doing and living your life accordingly to that, you would have much more fulfilling experiences. And so ladies, that is your realm. That is where you live. Like, women are all about nature. We call it Mother Nature because nature is very feminine and very mysterious. And that is important as a woman, that you connect with nature and you feel that way. Now, not everybody is going to be a nature connector, right? Some people are allergic to the sun. Some people really don't like, being outside or even smelling flowers or grounding. But that is a very, very minuscule amount of women who are like that. Most women, I mean, I just hang out with some of my friends and we're like, hey, let's just go to the beach and ground for a second. Like, let's just get in there, right? And that's important for women, like for you to find your authentic self and like be in that, because that is how you attract. That is how you get more of what you want out of life, is by doing that in nature and growing in that. So I think it's very important that you just know that, and you build your personality off of authentic things as a woman. And you shouldn't really need to chase anything or chase friendships or anything like that, because you will then get it gravitating towards you. It's amazing how many times I've done things that I like love doing, and then I meet someone and we connect and then we become friends. Like, been being very, very I wouldn't say extreme, but intense with my fitness. And I made some friends at the gym, and it was like, not just like, oh, this is like a gym friend, but like we're connecting deeper. Like, me and my friend, she's like, it's so crazy because we're like on the same spiritual journey. We're on the same like just life kind of things happening, and she's much older than I am, but she's also like very much so connected. And it's like, that's how you should be. Like, it should be authentic. And I understand that people want to make friends and they want to connect with people, but when you're doing the things that are authentic to you and that make you feel good and that brings you to that high vibration, you're going to naturally attract people who are part of that. So I think that's important, because if you go searching for friends, you will soon realize that the people you come across are not authentic to you, are not the people who should be around you. I know growing up, my mom used to always say this to us, because we would have like a bunch of friends and stuff, and my mom would be like, that's not your friend. This person's not your friend. Like, you think everybody's your friend, they're not your friend. And that was something, when my mom told us, we were like, whatever, like, not paying attention. And then looking back at it, everybody she said that wasn't really our friend really wasn't our friend. And I noticed this because there would be times, like, it would be a birthday of mine or my sister's, and we would be having like a party or going on a trip or something like that. None of my friends got me gifts. None of them said, let me get her a card for her birthday and say happy birthday. None of them, did anything to show that we were actually friends. And on their birthdays or on their special moments, they were getting like so much love and appreciation from me, and I would get them gifts and stuff like that. And those are the kind of things you want to pay attention to with the people who are your friends, because as women, we pour into each other. But if you're just pouring out into someone else and they're not giving that to you, you need to really check that and you need to work it out. Like, this is a more recent thing that happened to me. One of my friends from growing up, she had some children, and she was in a relationship, but she's mostly like a drama based person, so she's always calling with the next new drama filled event that happened in her life. And I've always been a listening ear to her, giving her advice if she asked for it. I just been there for her just as a friend. And when I got married, because we had an intimate wedding, we only had like our close family there, because we did get married and then we're on a yacht and everything. So it was like just a small, like, I think it was like 12 of us, right? So it was very, very small. And I was giving the people, like my family and friends who aren't in LA and who weren't there, I was giving them the photos of the event and how it all went. And I sent it to her, and I got nothing. No response. No, you look beautiful. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. I got nothing. She knew I was getting married. She asked me for even my wedding registry, like the ones you send out, and if they want to buy you gifts or whatever, they can send them. I sent that to her. She didn't get us anything for the wedding. I sent her the photos after the wedding to just show, like, the wedding and everything, all the wedding photos. I didn't get a response. Months later, I'm talking like maybe past 6 months or even 7 months later, she reached out with photos of her children, and then some long explanation about how depressed she was and how she didn't respond because she was depressed. And at that moment, that's when I decided, you know what? I am done with this friendship. I am done with feeling like I'm holding on to somebody who really just wants someone to listen to their drama, right? And I was like, in her story, she's the main character, and I'm just like the side little friend who gets dumped on the whole entire time. So I took it upon myself to say, you know what? This is not a friendship that I want to continue. And I bowed out gracefully. I just was like, this friendship is over. And for me, that was like a clearing that I knew I needed to do a long time ago. But I was holding on to this because, she was a nice girl. She's a nice woman. She, has children, and, I cared to be in the children's lives. I sent them gifts, it was there for her whenever she would call. I wasn't always I don't live in the same city as her, so it wasn't like I was seeing her all the time. But when we did catch up, I did the normal thing that people would do: show up for birthdays, give gifts, and all that stuff. And when I realized this was a one-sided friendship where this wasn't actually benefiting me and actually wasn't benefiting her either, because I was just one person out of who knows how many of people she would just dump her energy into. So I just decided this was not the thing for me. So I say all that to say to you ladies that when you're choosing friends, when you're looking at friends, you need to realize who are the people who are actually going to be good people for you, who are actually your tribe of people, who are actually your soulmates. Because there are so many people you will come across and you will think, oh my God, we're friends. And then when you step back and you realize, actually, I'm a friend to this person, but they are not a friend to me. That is where you should start, especially because so many people are friends with people who are not actually friends with them, who actually don't like them, who actually are jealous of them. And as a woman, as you go through your path and as you level up, like most of you ladies are, as you're dating better, as you're looking better, as you're growing to be a better person, as you're connecting more with your higher self, as you're becoming more spiritual, as you're becoming more wealthy and more happy, there are going to be people who you were friends with who are not going to be on that same path. And you have to remember, it's okay to let them go, because if you keep them around, they're not going to be there to celebrate your happy moments. They're not going to be there to cheer you on and make you feel good about yourself. They're the ones who are going to say, you know what? I'm going to rain on her parade. I'm not going to acknowledge the great things she's done. I'm not going to be there to say congratulations or give her a gift or say happy birthday. And to me, I just couldn't get with that. So that was really like a huge eye opener in the beginning of my journey with just being a grown woman, right? Well, I first started off, and I remember it was 2020 and I turned 29 at that time. And I was like, this is the last year of my 20s. I'm not going to do the same thing I did in my 30s. This is a completely different experience. It's a completely different mindset, completely different even being walking into the 30s. So I'm going to prepare myself now at 29 to give a greater experience to the person I'm passing the baton to. And that was the experience for the 30s, right? And so in that time when I was 39, and then the pandemic happened and things shut down, that was the perfect opportunity for me to just like cut people off that I knew weren't good for me. And I started doing that, and I started changing, and I started to feel completely free of like this idea of having to be somebody and having to hold up this personality that wasn't actually who I was and connected to. But because I had so many friends that were in the scene and that were this kind of way, and like I played into that, right? Because I was like that at a point. And then I was like, this isn't my authentic self. So I think it's important, as you ladies grow and level up your becoming, right, the best of yourselves, that you actually take account the people in your life and saying, are these friends that I'm around, are these people that I'm associated with truly here for my best benefit? Or am I just hanging out with them because that's who I hang out with, that's who I've known? And I really want you ladies to do this, because a lot of the time you are who you hang out with, right? If you show me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are, type of saying, right? So you have to realize, if you want to live like a certain type of way, if you want to be a certain type of person, are the people in your life supporting that? Right? Are they I'm not telling you you need to go find all the people who are better than you, and you need to drop the people who aren't there yet or anything like that. But it's about the energy that they give you. A person can not be on the same leveling up journey as you, but support you so much and are happy for your wins and are just there and happy for you, and they're okay with where they're at, and they're just happy that you're doing what's best for you. Don't let that person go. I'm not telling you, hey, go ditch all your old friends and then just go go get better, more leveled up women in your life. You don't have to do that. And I think it's important that we remember, like, the women that we have in our lives are the women that is basically there to support us. If we have, if we're married, this is your group of women. This is the people you should lean on. This is your support. If you have children, that's the same idea. If you're going through something, that's the same idea. So you want to make sure that the women that you have in your life, the friendships that you have in your life, are actually to your benefit, because you don't want to be in a situation that I was in, where it was like, okay, now I'm seeing people for their true colors because I'm getting so many wins, and these people can't even be happy for me. And that's important. That's very, very important on the journey, that you're making sure the people that you're associated with are actually happy for you and actually want you to win and actually want the best for you. Okay. And that kind of goes into the final thing I kind of wanted to speak about, was when you me and my sister have this saying, because we've had so many types of friends and people that we've helped throughout the years. I mean, we've taken them in, we have, given them the clothes off our backs. We were just always very giving and loving towards our friends, because, we have a very tight friendship. Me and my sister are best friends, right? She's even in the chat, right? we're absolute best friends, and we support each other, and we come to each other, and we don't judge each other. We're just there for one another. So we try to carry that same energy with all the friends that we have. We give them support and love and attention, and we just do that with all the women that we know, because that's how we are with one another. And once we realized that these people weren't actually our friends, they weren't actually supporting us, and we decided, you know what? I am done doing charity. And this is something not in the real charity sense, but the charity of friendship, right? The charity of being with people and supporting them and doing all this stuff and getting nothing in return, right? Not, you get the satisfaction, okay, I helped this person, but you're not getting like the person to turn around and help you, right? It's very much so one-sided. And once we decided this was no longer going to be the path, that I was no longer going to pour into people who could not turn around and pour into me and had no interest in doing that, that's when the true leveling up actually happened. When I was saving my energy and putting it into things that actually just benefited me and really was to the best of myself. And a lot of people don't think of this, but I think it's very important to be selfish. I think especially when you're on this journey as a woman who wants to get married, as a woman who wants a family, as a woman who wants to create great things, become wealthy, wants to be beautiful, all these things, you need to be selfish, and not in a negative way. People take the word selfish and they make it seem like it's the worst thing in the world. But in reality, being selfish is the best thing for you to do when you're saying, hey, I need to focus on me and make me the best version. That doesn't mean I have to be rude or disrespectful or not take your emotions into account. But I do have to say, hey, I got to start with me first. I need to make sure, if I'm going to do anything, that I'm going to be okay with it, that I'm going to benefit from this. Because as women, so much women I've seen so many times, they just, do things and ruin themselves because they're not being selfish. They're not preserving themselves. And they, I mean, we can look at the, single mother rate, right? This idea, not even single mothers, just like women who have children out of wedlock and they're not even with the guy anymore. And that right there, there's so many ways that you can get in that situation, but that right there, to give someone a baby, to give up your body, give up your time, give up your energy, and almost give up your life to somebody who couldn't even marry you, couldn't even be there for you, couldn't even support you in a true way where they say, I actually have your back, and they leave you to be a single mother, and they leave you to take care of that responsibility where you were so selfless and you did that. And I know a lot of people, when they, start off and they're in a relationship and they think it's going to last forever, and then they say, hey, we're going to have a baby together, and they go for it. Yeah, you're in that mindset, this is going to last forever. But I want you ladies to think of that is the most self-destructive thing that you can do to yourself, because children are forever, or as long as they last, right? As long as you're alive, as long as they're alive, children are forever. Your children are there for you. And giving birth is the most selfless thing you can do. And who really deserves that? Who really deserves to have that part of you? And that's what I mean by being selfish. When you think of yourself and you say, who deserves to have this part of me? Who deserves me putting myself in danger, putting my happiness on hold, putting all of my dreams and things that I can actually be doing on hold? Who am I? Who am I? And what am I actually going to benefit from this experience? That's the questions that, you need to ask yourself. And when you make decisions of who you're going to date, who you're going to be around, who you're going to associate with, what business you're going to get into, what you're going to look like, you need to find the benefit for yourself. You should always be looking at, how am I going to benefit from this? If you try to sell anybody anything, right? Just think of it that way. If you're trying to sell somebody something, you always have to look to, how can I help this person? How am I going to make them see the benefit of what I'm trying to sell them, right? How are they going to say this was worth it? That's exactly what you have to do when you're looking out into the world. When you're dating, you need to look at men and say, okay, is this man going to be a benefit to my life? Am I going to be a benefit to his life? Is this going to be something beneficial for the both of us? And this is the idea that people can't really fathom, right? When they talk about gold diggers, when they talk about women, dating for money and wealth and stuff like that. Ask any man who is happily married that has money and has wealth. Ask him if there's a benefit to his wife. People who are matched up usually are benefiting from one another if they're matched up correctly. Now, if you're a woman and you feel like this urge or need that you need to date a humble man who doesn't have anything, and it's like, hey, I'm in it for love, but that just shows you don't love yourself. That's the thing that people don't realize, is the people who think like, oh, I can date a broke man, it doesn't matter about the money and stuff, because you don't value yourself. Everything I'm telling you is about valuing yourself, with friendships, with men, with opportunities, with money, with jobs, with people that you may come across, with the things that you're willing to do, is all to a benefit of yourself and what you value. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today, is like, when you're actually moving around in the world and when you're creating these friendships and relationships and stuff like that, learning to be selfish, learning to be okay with saying, is this going to benefit me? Am I going to get better by being involved in this? And that's how you actually get this main character energy. This is how you actually get that soft life. This is how you actually get, to live that life that you actually want, is when you're thinking, is this going to better me? It's not about other people. Like, when you're the main character, you're looking at, how is my storyline going to go off? What do I actually want? So that's really all I wanted to talk about today. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please put them down now. I'll give you about 10 minutes while I wrap this up. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to say. And I want you ladies to also know about preserving your energy when it comes to people who dump their energy on you. I know I spoke about this a little bit, and this is very important. If you have friends or people or family or people just come in your life and all they do is dump their negative dramas on you and their stories on you, and it's just nonstop, this is what I'm going through, this is what happened to me, this is, the negative thing that's going on in my life, you need to check that, because that's actually transferring energy and you're picking that up into your energy, and then it can go and manifest in different ways. So you need to really think about that, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're just taking on this negative energy of other people constantly and they just find you to be a dumping ground, because you're not anybody's therapist, you're not anybody's mother, you don't need to be taking in anybody's negative energy, because it's not going to benefit you unless you do know how to cleanse that energy out and get it out of your system once they do that. And if that's the case, you do need to become a therapist, because you need to get paid for that kind of work. That's that's a big thing. It's like, if you are going to take people's negative energy and you're going to make it something that you just do, you need to be getting paid for it, because you need to be selfish. And I don't think people talk about that enough. I think people look at selfishness as such a negative when it's the most positive thing that you can do for yourself. It's showing that you love yourself. And that speaks volumes. It changes everything. It changes everything. When you choose to love yourself, everybody then has to respect you, because they know, hey, if I don't respect her and I don't respect her boundaries and I don't look to her like the way she wants me to look at her, then I'm done. And then they choose whether or not they want to be done or not. But at the end of the day, that's the truth. That's the reality. If you love yourself, other people will respect you. The men in your life will respect you. Stop trying to play up to everybody. Stop trying to be everybody's friend, being so nice, being so this, to the detriment of yourself. You need to choose you every single time. Choose you. And you will see, oh my gosh, things have changed. Life is better. And you don't have to make false promises. You don't have to play up. You don't have to do things you don't like and saying, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do. And if you don't want to be on that, then we don't got to. We don't got to do it together. And when you live like that, you're going to start to see things completely change. It's not about kissing anybody's ass. It's not about, being this perfect little person. And I know we live in a society now where they're like, women need to be submissive and women need to be like this. Well, women need to love themselves, like truly love themselves, not in this fake way where we're asking for, bad behavior to be accepted out of women. It's not about that. It's about truly loving yourself. Because if women, and I'll leave on this, if women actually love themselves, men would be better. Men, when we think about why there's so many trash men out there, it's because there are women that accept them. It's because the women that are saying, hey, I'm okay with dating a brokey. I'm okay if he needs my help in doing 50-50 in this economy. I need to be a provider as well, or I got my own. Those are the women who give you the trash men. If no woman was like that, if no woman decided, hey, we're actually not going to take our foot off their necks, we're going to actually require them to be better. We're going to actually require them to marry us before we give them a baby. We're actually going to require them to marry us before we even sleep with them. We're actually going to require them to marry us before we go live with them. We're actually going to require that they give us an actual ring and a date before I even get exclusive with you. We're going to require that you show us your proof of funds before we do anything. How about that? What if women decided to do that? All of us. Would we still have trash men? would we still have trash men? Oh, because those men who wouldn't be able to keep up, who wouldn't do that, those men will not reproduce. Those men will fall to the waistline. Those men would be lonely and they would just go on about life. And most of the men who are competitive, most of the men who know, hey, I can do that, I can be that, I can do this, they're going to step up to the plate. So it's important as women for you to be selfish, for you to put yourself first and your best interest first, and think about your future self and say, hey, I'm living right now to make sure that my future is bright and good. So I'm living for her, right? I'm living for my future children. I'm living to get this type of lifestyle. I'm making sure that everything I do is going to be aligned with the dream and the vision that I see my life going. Because the reality is the people who don't are the ones who ruin it for the people who really well, actually the people who really want it, they'll always get it. But that's the complaint. That's the complaint most women are having, is because the people who are accepting the less than, because it's the men. Like I get this comments all the time in my comments from men who fall on my page. I don't even know how they get here because I'm not talking to them, and they think that it's important for them to spill their guts and tell me how I'm wrong and how I'm leading women to be lonely and desperate and all this stuff. And I'm just like, where in the world would a man think that it's appropriate for him to come to a woman who is married, who has no business for you, who has no interest to you, for you to come and give me your opinion on women who don't want to date you? And that's the reality. It's the men who women don't want, the women that I talk to that don't want to date you. You're mad at these women, at me, because we don't want to date you and we don't want to stoop down so we can be accessible to you, when there are plenty of women who have no problem dating you. And that's the thing. Like most people think like, oh, okay, it's okay to go on coffee dates, it's okay to do this. So if it's so okay, then why are the men who are offering this mad at us, mad at me, because I'm telling you not to do that? Because I'm saying, hey, you're better than coffee, don't go on that coffee date. If he's not offering dinner, don't go on the date. You need a proper date. Why are they mad? Because they want the women that they can't get. They want the top of the line woman. They want the women who look a certain way, who act a certain way, who have certain values, but they want those women to be accessible to them. And the women that they get, the women who accept it, they know these women are, I'm not going to say low quality, because I don't think women can be low quality, but they're more so the selfless ones. They're the ones who will lay down and die for their man. Those women, those men don't actually want. So I want you ladies to really think of that and be like, hey, these men and these people who complain that your standards are too high, or you are so selfish, or you shouldn't want this, you need to get a more humble man, or this economy and 50-50 and all that kind of conversation. Why are they even talking? Because at the end of the day, there are so many people who support you. So go be with them. They don't want them. They want you. And they're not going to have you because you ladies value yourselves. And that's a big thing. And those of you who aren't there yet, who are still learning to love yourself and value yourself, you have to think of self-preservation. You have to think of the analogy on the plane when they say, put your mask on first before you help anybody else. Y'all be ready to help the whole damn plane, and then you like falling over dead and still trying to put a mask on somebody else instead of just putting it on yourself. And then you get upset that nobody put one on you. That's the whole idea, right? You're upset nobody put a mask on you because you wouldn't put one on yourself. Protect yourself. Think of yourself. With friends, with family, with men, with jobs, with everything. Think of yourself. Is this going to benefit you? And you will see how quickly your life will change, your energy will change, your experiences will change. You will get way more out of life and you will enjoy it a lot more. So that's really all I wanted to say today. I know that was a lot. I just feel like it's important that I start there with the womanhood, because if we don't value ourselves. Everything I tell you about men, about dating, about relationships, about marriage, it's not going to resonate. It's not going to hit because you don't have the foundation of being selfish, of self-preserving, right? That's my whole thing. That comes second nature to me. I'm a Capricorn. So that's our whole thing. It's like self-preservation. Is this waste my time? Is this good for me? I don't know. We're not going to do it. That's my whole personality. But I think there's so much value in that, because just because I'm selfish and I'm thinking of myself and I'm preserving myself doesn't mean I don't care about other people. Doesn't mean I'm going to hurt other people. Doesn't mean I'm not going to make sure you're okay too. Because with me, it's always a balance thing. It's like, if I'm benefiting from you, there has to be, you're going to benefit from me, whether it be like just even in my marriage, right? My husband is the protector, provider. He's there to shelter and clothe and build our finances and all this other stuff. And me, I am the spiritual protector of our family, of ourselves, right? That's a whole other different job. That's a whole different energy, right? I'm the homemaker, I'm the housewife, I'm the spiritual protector. Like, I'm doing a whole different set of jobs. And some of those things you don't even see, right? I'm holding a completely different energy than my husband is, right? But we are a benefit to one another, and we're both being selfish in those things that we're doing, but we're actually benefiting one another. And that is important for every relationship that you have, that there is a balance and there is a benefit. So if you ladies don't have any questions, I'm going to sign off. But I am happy to be like doing this more often. I actually had another topic in mind. It came to me last night when I was sleeping, and then I like woke up and I was like, oh my God, okay, remember, right? I like told myself, because I didn't have like a pen. I usually have like my notebook and pen next to my bed. So when I do have dreams that are really interesting, that I can write them down so I can remember. And I was like telling myself, remember. Girl, as soon as I really woke up and I was getting ready to go to the gym, the thought was gone. And the whole time I'm in the car going to the gym, I'm like, what is it? I'm like working out. What is it? I'm like doing cardio. What is it? I was getting, I'm like, what was the idea? It was so good. It's gone. It's gone. So then I moved on to this topic, but hopefully it comes back tonight, and I'll make sure to have my pen and pad next to me. And then tomorrow, hopefully, I'm not all the way sure if I'm going to do the next one tomorrow, but like I said, I'm going to be consistent on this topic. So if you ladies have any questions or anything you want me to talk about specifically, leave it in the comments. Let me know. Like, this is the perfect time, especially if you are in a position where you can't do the one-on-one goddess check-in, but you're like, hey, I really want to talk to you about this. Leave it in the comments and I will address it on the next video, or, tune in for the next video. I will try to make sure that I give you ladies a fair warning when I'm going to go live. So then that way you can just be there and be prepared to ask the question if that's what you want to do. Okay, ladies. So that is all. Actually, my information is down below. If you do want to just do a one-on-one goddess check-in, this is an opportunity where we get to just talk one-on-one on whatever you want me to talk about. Most of the women that do reach out to me, they are interested in online dating. So we usually just get on a Zoom together. They show me their dating profile. I assess it with them. We go through some of the topics and things that they need to put in, and I advise them on that. Then we actually go through the guys, and that's actually really fun, and a lot of the women have fun with it. I give them the technique on how you can actually get the best out of these guys, and we kind of have fun with it. I actually help them sometimes forming things to reply to these guys, and how to move the conversation offline and actually get more out of it. So it's a lot of fun doing the whole one-on-one goddess check-in. I love getting to know you ladies a little more personally. I can say that some of you have turned into friends, which I really appreciate. And so it's a really good experience, and you can always email me, and I can tell you more about it through there. So Let me know. There are links down below for other videos that you may be interested in, and in part 1 is down there. So there's a bunch of stuff in the description for you. Please like this video, comment, and come back for the next live, because like I said, this is something that I want to keep on going. All right. Bye.